Yeah. Oh man, it's been a long time, everybody. It's been a super duper duper long time, and I want to introduce you to the Wednesday, July 21st edition of Paleocrad Diaries. I've missed you guys. It's gonna be a good show. Share it with all your friends. Let's get started. Yeah, okay. Here's the thing. So I go ahead. Oh no, here we go. Check this out. We gotta crank this up. We gotta crank this up. Yeah. I was excited. I was super pumped to be doing the show. It's been so long. How many months? Been what, like 6 months? Ugh. And I come back. It's the first time I'm recording over at Meaning of Catholic. I'm hoping this one works, because I've been talking for like 15 minutes. Woo! Oh, I've been talking for like 15 minutes over here. Ugh. I even had this music all lined up. You know why? Because I'm used to playing like more intense, modern music and stuff like that. But Tim over here at Meaning of Catholic, we've had a discussion about that. And he said, look, man, you can do almost anything. Just not the rock, not the rap. I said, okay, I got you. So I figured, why not play some, fiesta music. Fiesta de la Vida. Oh, yes, by old Aaron Kenny. Are you digging that, by the way? Good morning. Good morning. This is a special morning, by the way. Let Angela know. Find her in the comments. Let her know that you love her, because it is my wife's birthday today. I love that woman. I love that woman. And I love this show. And I am glad to be part, as you can see, along the bottom. We are now part of the Meaning of Catholic. It's only going to be one day a week, the live show. Okay, so you're going to have to make sure to go over to paleocraddiaries.com, or, of course, subscribe over at my YouTube channel. I'm going to be posting a lot of videos there, but they're going to be different than this. Okay, I didn't want to do live shows all the time. I was doing what? Like 5 live shows a week. I was doing 5 live shows a week, which was, kind of ridiculous and stuff. It was kind of ridiculous. It was like, 3 hours a day. I was, a force to be reckoned with. And it was the elections. So there was stuff to do, right? There was stuff to do. But the thing is, it was overwhelming. And I started to get really down and out. Just real bad, real down and out. You're kind of in this world of despair. And it was bumming me out big time. And I came to this conclusion, and I still maintain this, that in our current position right now, in the United States of America specifically, but in multiple places around the world, there is no political solution. I've come to accept this. Right? My view of how civilizations work, high cultures, how they become civilizations, and how civilizations are born and live and die. That's my position on this. And so I believe that we're in the death throes. I think that what we're going to talk about today, okay, for example, many of the things we'll talk about today are historically, these are things that pop up at the end of the timeline of high cultures and civilizations. And so I got bummed out. I was like, look, we're toast. What are you going to do? You going to make a YouTube video? What are you going to do? You going to write a book? You going to write a pamphlet? You going to go vote? You going to vote in another representative? Is that what you're going to do? It's all on the line this time. Guys. This is the most important one ever. If we just get this representative in, or if we get this president in, bada boom, bada bang, it's all going to work out. No, I don't believe that anymore. That's hocus pocus nonsense. That's tomfoolery, man. I don't buy it one bit. But it got to the point, though. It got to the point where it was like despair. Like, well, I'm going to just go and run. I'm going to take the Benedict option, like beyond serious. I'm going to do it for myself. I'm just going to escape and escape into a world of beauty, art, music, things like that. Which in the end ended up being okay. And in fact, I'm glad. I'm glad that I made the decision to, for a period of time, to just walk away. to just leave it all. Maybe a little bit grand, maybe a little bit grandiose, right? You can go back, you can watch the farewell video that I did over at my Paleocrat Diaries. In fact, I got a whole playlist of little clips and stuff. So, because the show was like 3 hours. I mean, who wants to go back and say, well, what happened on, April 13th? Who cares what happened on April 13th anymore? On YouTube and social media and stuff. Nobody's going back to look at that stuff. Nobody's going back to look at that. And so, but you can go back and you can check out the little clips that we did, topical, thematic things. But that, that kind of led to other things later during my hiatus, during my time away. It was really healthy for me. And it was healthy for my vision of things, healthy for my involvement in things. Kind of gave me a more balanced take even on technology. I did a digital minimalist fast, right? It wasn't a fast, really. I guess it's like a reboot where you kind of go back in time and pretend as though you're going back before the Nintendo. For me, it would be Nintendo, right? To go back before Nintendo and to say, hey, what is this? What is this device? Okay, is it something I should use? If so, how often should I use it? What role does it play? What effect could it have? To maybe be a little bit more Amish about it. You know what I'm saying? And that's true. I think the Amish get a bad rap. The Amish get a really bad rap because, everybody sits there and says, well, they're just totally 100% against technology. That's phony baloney. They actually have kind of an alpha nerd that goes and evaluates different tech that comes along, and they talk about it as a group. And they make decisions, which is why a lot of these Amish places have telephones. They're community telephones in case there's an accident or somebody needs emergency care. They go ahead and they do that. They even have different rules about cars and stuff like that. And so, but they evaluate it in a bigger picture. And believe me, I'm not encouraging everybody to be, Amish and junk. But you wouldn't watch my show anymore. So it's bigger than that, right? But the thing is that taking the good, right? Eating the meat and spitting out the bone and saying, how could I use these apps? And sometimes is it better to use it or not use it? Even stuff about GPS. Even things about this, and you get this. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you think in the comments. The idea of GPS, or not GPS, of in your cell phones, the fact that you've got people's names. How many of you are old enough to remember the world before, cell phones and stuff, where you would have your what is it, Rolodex? You'd have all the numbers and stuff laid out. And you would have to punch them in. Do you remember your phone number? How many phone numbers, if you had to think about it, how many phone numbers do you remember? And was that a benefit? Was that actually a good thing? Did that help in ways that people don't normally think about? And I would compare it to maybe writing in cursive. That a lot of people go, well, yeah, you're writing. The idea, the utility of it is you're trying to communicate something. And you say, yes, but there's a reason classical schools are still having kids write in cursive. It's not just so that they can read it. There's benefits to it. And so same thing with that. I would ask, we go from a time where we learn by landmarks, right? Things that we have to be more attentive rather than distracted. So we're kind of living in a world where life is a commercial. But to say, should I use that? Should I use that? Should I not? Should I use the thing on the phone where it's got the people's names? What if I had to remember their number? Would I even remember their number? Or do I just say, well, it's just their name in my phone? I don't know. What would you do? I guess you could still call an operator. Do they still have those? I don't know. You could maybe look it up online. You keep using it. But it was good for me to do that because it kind of balanced me out. And it made me it kind of rewired me to say, rather than just being opposed to technology, which is what I'd become, rather than just do that, and modern digital technology in particular, okay? The idea was, how can we use this? What role should it play? How can I be productive? How can I avoid distractions or mere amusements? It was healthy. It was healthy. And during that time, I talked to my boy Tim Flanders, and I said, "Dude, let's talk. Let's talk about this because this is something that's gone on for a while. Okay, it's been going on for a minute, and the idea of Paleocrat Diaries and Meaning of Catholic working together. In fact, from the beginning, The very, very, very beginning, I had a meeting. We go to the same parish. So he invited me to his house. I've been to the boy's house. He's a great guy, by the way. You know, a lot of you, might only know him because he's not like a vlogger. He's not out there vlogging about his life and stuff. And he talks about topical stuff. I even the category that we're in is kind of funny, purely education kind of stuff. And so you may not know him on a personal level. And I'm not claiming that I know him on the most intimate personal level, but I can say this. The guy is the real deal. He's the real deal. I love that guy, for real. He's an amazing human being. He's at church. He's always helping his wife with the kids, stuff like that. You see him in the back, and he's with his son, eyes closed, looking up at the crucifix, praying a rosary quietly. He's the real deal. When we do processions at church, he'll lead the rosary and stuff. He's always with his rosary all the time. And he's just a legit dude. And more than that, he works like crazy. And that's what inspired me. That's what inspired me to come back. Because I said, this guy is a workhorse. How many of you watch his show, right? The Terror of Demons with him in Kennedy Hall. How many of you watch that show? Put it in the comment section. Okay? Put it in the comment section. The thing is, big time praise for that, because homeboy's he has to be waking up at like 3:30 in the morning. And I'm like, I'm sitting there back months and months ago. I was probably waking up at like, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. And I'm like, how does this guy get so much done? He's waking up early. Well, it inspired me. I said, well, how is he getting out there so quick? He's the way he works with his job, the way he disconnects from stuff when he has to spend time with his family. He's not mingling it up all the time. He prioritizes. And that was a huge inspiration to me. And I said, and I used to joke and say, when I grow up, I want to be Tim Flanders. When I grow up, I want to be Tim. I want to be older than him, But it's true. It's true. He's been a real inspiration. So this whole thing was really great. But look, we're already, I'm going to go over time, not by much, but only because we started so late. And we don't have another show following up on this, so I can go a little bit longer. But we'll, of course, get to the comment section. We're going to do that. But before we do, first of all, I'm really glad that you guys are here. And I'm really glad to be here. I'm really glad because so often, it was one of the things he said when we talked about this, is he said, look, we've talked about this for a long time. You're part of kind of the origin story, in fact, of Meaning of Catholic. I was one of the first. Was I the first interview on the channel? I think maybe, So, I was like kind of old school with that. And then when Kennedy was part of it, it was the trifecta. People came up with a name for us. And so it was one of those things that just felt like a really good fit. And so I'm excited to be doing this, but I just got to let you know that it's going to be different than some of the videos I make on my own channel, which would be far more cinematic, because you can do post-production, stuff like that. And I'm actually working on a documentary on a book that I've referenced multiple times. People who have heard me on this channel and have watched my show on my channel, they would know about that, or they could probably guess what book I'm talking about. But it might even require a Kickstarter, because I bought a whole bunch of great equipment. I've got more equipment to purchase, and been working really hard on this. And I want to connect with people who are professionals in covering various religious groups throughout Christian history, splinter sects, right? The enthusiasts, that's your hint. And so I'm working on a documentary series, but it would be in 20-minute videos or whatever. 20-minute videos. And so that's going to be a lot different. I'm even working on animation. So we bought an animator program. I'm an artist, and so I've been drawing probably about an hour a day, probably, and putting together different characters. We're figuring out how to make the puppets and stuff. And so you may even see some of those popping up on this channel. But before we get into the nitty gritty, okay, first of all, we're going to get to the comments toward the end. I may kind of peek in as it goes along, maybe mention a couple of them when we come back. I'm going to real quickly, I'm going to play a video. Actually, I can't say quickly because it runs for like 8 minutes, I think. But it is an update about my mother-in-law, okay? And about my mother-in-law, the video is that, okay? Because I saw my mother-in-law was in an accident back in the tail end of March. And it was severe. My brother-in-law died, okay? My mother-in-law has incurred severe brain injuries. She's in a nursing home right now. That video is about 25 minutes. I just posted a couple days ago over, or maybe yesterday, over at my channel. You can go check that out at Paleocrat. But I recorded it on Saturday night, which would have been the same day as my daughter died, the 5-year anniversary of my daughter Samantha's death from childhood brain cancer. And so she'd be a senior this year coming up, right? And so I talked about it. And this video here talks about it, and it gives you a sneak peek into something. That's why I want to show it, because it talks about family, gives you an idea for what I do, but also talks about little Louie, okay, little Lucian Ignatius, and it shows you a series of clips that that are part of a private video, and I explain it in there. But it's a video that's set to private, okay, for a good reason, that has to do with the final days of my daughter's life, and I show clips that are appropriate and fitting, okay. So there's nothing, because there was a lot in there that would be shocking, it'd be jolting to people, it'd be controversial, because she was in rigor mortis when I carried her out of the home, and it's on video. And so, but the video itself is beautifully painfully beautiful. And I'm going to, in this clip here, it not only gives you a little bit of an update as to that stuff, it also gives me time to get some stuff done, and you get to see some clips. So make sure, keep commenting in the comments. We'll get to those. Believe me, it's going to be a whole bunch of fun. We're going to talk about whether or not godless heathens are coming for yo kids, and I can tell you right now they are. You better hide them behind a wall of prayer. Okay, it's what you got to do. It's what you got to do at this point. So we're going to be spending a lot of time talking about that. And make sure, of course, check out paleocratdiaries.com as well as meaningofcatholic.com. This is Jeremiah Bannister with Paleocrat Diaries. First day on the Meaning of Catholic YouTube channel, and we'll be back right after this video. I'm making this video on the day that my daughter died, 5 years ago. She'd be, a senior? It's hard to think about. And, it's one of these things, because I don't even have to remember. I don't need to prepare for it. It's inevitable. It's like Holy Week, I've compared it to that before. It always comes back. And it's just one of these things, because I can't get around Angela's birthday. That's the day of the funeral. And by the way, it's the 21st, everybody. So keep her in your prayers. And if you'd like to lavish her with gifts and stuff, hit me up. I'll let you know. Because it's hard every year. Especially this year. It's like one of these things. I woke up this morning and I wasn't even thinking about the date. Came in the office here, sitting down to draw, working on different projects and stuff. Big things, by the way. And I get on Facebook for a second. I don't do that very often, but I got on. And I saw that I had a bunch of people who tagged me. And I still didn't know what day it was. And then I saw the picture. And I still hope that someday, maybe I'll commission somebody to paint that picture. Because it's gorgeous. It's painfully gorgeous. But I saw it. And the stuff that people were saying. And I saw that my sister wanted to see this video I made. And I haven't shared it publicly because I can't. I can't share it because Samantha's dead in the video. Not the whole video. But it shows it's a video I made. It's cinematic, in fact. It's beautiful. It's the best video I've ever made of anything in my life. And I think I've only shared it with maybe 9 or 10 people. But somebody wanted to see it that had not. And they heard about this thing, this mythological video out there that's like extremely moving, that people watch over and over and over and just weep and wail and remember the beauty and the pain of the loss and the life of my daughter. And somebody wanted to watch it. And so I needed to find the link because it's set to private. It's on Telegram. It's set to private in a private channel. But I saw it. And so I said, well, I better, I'll watch this thing. And Lucian, I bring it up because of Louie. Little Louie, he wanted to see it. He wanted to see it because he knows Samantha. He sees her picture on our wall. He loves looking at the photo album that we have from the funeral. Sometimes he's even slept with it. And I've thought about this a lot. as he gets older and figures it out. He knows the owl. He knows what that is. He sees it on my arm. He sees it. Samantha. He likes watching videos, and he saw for a second. He saw it, and he knew it was her, and he said, me too, I want to see. I didn't know what to do. So I tried to be sneaky and go to the office so I could watch it by myself, and he followed me in here, that little bugger. I said, no, go watch something on the TV. Go play a game. I'm pulling out all the stops, and he wanted to see it. And he was getting mad because I closed the door, so I let him in. And he sat on my lap. And he watched that video. And he saw me cry. And you could see in his eyes a kind of sadness that was remarkable. It was almost mature in a weird way. And there's a scene where Samantha, that she waves and says, bye-bye. And he waved back at her like it was a video chat, and he said, hi. I didn't know what I was going to do. I knew I needed to make the video about Anne, but I didn't know what I was going to do. And by that point, because I planned on making it today anyway, and then it hits me, oh my gosh, it's like double whammy, And so you may notice my hair, it's all jacked up, because I actually went running, and anyone who knows me knows that is like, Jeremiah doesn't run. He doesn't go run. He has a bike. He likes to swim. He likes to ride bike and do different things and lift weights, but running on the road? Yeah, right. Oh, yeah, right. I did. It hurt. And in a weird way, I wanted it to hurt. I don't know what they call it. The transference of pain, or I forget what it's called. Kind of felt like that. That if my feet hurt, my shins hurt, and my 43-year-old knees hurt, my muscles hurt, and I'm breathing hard, and my chest is just filling up, and I'm aching all over. And it's like I can cope. It's something that just sticks with you forever. It doesn't go away. I'm grateful. In fact, I'm grateful right now. I'm crying. Like I am. Sometimes I get mad because I don't cry as much anymore. I told my mom the same thing, because my mom, she told me, she was saying how she's been crying a lot, and she watched that video over and over today. The little movie I made. It's only what, 6 minutes or something, but it's powerful. It's got music. Plus, it's copyrighted, so I wouldn't be able to share it for numerous reasons on like YouTube or Facebook and stuff. But my mom has the link. And so she's watched it over and over and over and over and wept. And I told her that I'm glad. I'm glad that she's crying. I ask that you pray. That you continue to pray. And keep us in your thoughts. I know, look, I guess at the end of the day, I just want to say I'm really grateful. I'm grateful for all of you. I'm grateful for your support. I'm grateful for those people that reach out to us at different times for different reasons, but that they reach out to us and they're just part of our lives. I'm grateful for those individuals who have reached out to us when we are going through an especially difficult time. And I'm really grateful for those who stood by our side through the whole thing. Or, look, if you just came along, you just came on board. If you just came on board, look, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here. And I'm glad we're friends. And I guess I just ask, keep us in prayer. And I'll say it again, especially Anne and my wife. Keep them in prayer. Keep them in your in your heart. Keep them in your words when you talk to people. Keep them close because they need you. And they're really grateful. And so am I. And there we are. And there we are. I'll tell you, first of all, happy birthday to my wife. It was hard because this is one of those things. It's one of those things where, you'll never be able to get around it. You'll never be able to get around it all the way. When a funeral is on a birthday, and I remember this, so it's the last thing I'll say about it, then we're going to go on. The last thing I'll say is that, on the day of the funeral, it was already hard enough. I mean, it's her firstborn, 12 years old, beautiful girl, amazing person, gone. And it was already hard enough, but it was on a day that was supposed to be one of celebration. Now there is a sense of celebration. Okay, we can look at that and say that it's her heavenly birthday, right? She's been discharged to heaven. And we're grateful for that. In fact, we ask her to pray for us, and we pray for her as well. And so it's just one of those things where from that point on, every year is one of those things. Every year at this time, the week leading up, there's degrees of sadness, and that's been compounded by what went on with her mother. So remember, please pray for them. Pray for them big time because they definitely need it, and they're very, very grateful for it. And of course, wish her a very happy birthday in the comments section. All right, now on to the main. So here we go. Let's get that off here. Let's see if we can fix a little bit of this up. All right. So here we go. Hold on. What the blazes? It's up there. All right. Got a little bit of the grainy behind me. Bummed out about that. Oh no. Let's see if we can change this. Hold on a second. I've been told that it's a little bit wow. It's not looking good. What the heck? Is that even better? No, it's even worse. Green screens. No. Green screens. No way. You're not going to ruin me, green screens. You're not going to ruin me. So, all right. The topic of this episode, and I'm sorry that the intro went so long. I'm truly, sincerely sorry about that. But the topic of this episode is, are the Godless Heathens coming for yo kids? And the truth is, absolutely 100%. There's no doubt about it. You need to protect them. And we're going to show some clips here as to why I would make that statement. Because that's pretty bold. That's pretty bold to say, yeah, they're coming for your children. Okay, they're coming for your kids. And so here's the thing. We're going to show this little clip here. And I went to look at it. I didn't see any copyright on it. So I'm hoping that there's no problem, but at least you'll be able to see it. Right? YouTube might say we have to remove it. I doubt it. Because as I said, you go and you look and you say, wow, there's not a copyright, but there's a huge thing trying to explain. And they're in a losing position when they have to explain themselves with like 6 or 7 paragraphs. That's like Congressman Meyer. Okay, that's like Peter Meyer in Michigan, who was one of the very few Republicans who voted for the impeachment of Donald Trump the second time. Okay, when he did that, he's now sending a letter because he's got to scramble. He's sending a letter. Hey guys, I'm trying to explain myself. I really had to do it. Blah blah blah. And you're like, dude, it's hilarious. I got to show it sometime. It's like 2 sides of a piece of paper. So goodness gracious, bro. Goodness gracious, your PR guys are really crappy. They're really bad because this is bad. It shows that you're in a losing position right away. Same thing, of course. What is it? The San Francisco Gay Men's Choir? Same exact thing. So this right here is the premise. And so we're going to show this quick video. Let's play this thing. Let's find out.
But you're just frightened. You think that we'll corrupt your kids if our agenda goes unchecked. Funny, just this once, you're correct. We'll convert your children. Happens bit by bit, quietly and subtly. and you will barely notice it. We'll convert your children. Someone's gotta teach them not to hate. We're coming for them.
Yeah.
We're coming for your children.
By the way, can I just pause this for a second? All right. So I know they're like, oh, we're trying to be funny. This is meant to be tongue in cheek. And you're like, that's kind of, what is that, a double entendre? Is that, what would it be called? It's a euphemism. A euphemism. But they're coming for the kids. Now, there is an argument to be made. They can say, look, this is we're trying to say, look, we're trying to make the world a less hateful place, and that's, what we're doing. But it really is kind of one of these, like, admitting the obvious. Admitting the obvious. Anyone who's familiar, by the way, with a document called After the Ball, okay, if you haven't read After the Ball, you really should, because it lays it out. It lays it out exactly what's been going on for practically my whole lifetime. Okay, the way that the agenda, and yes, there quite obviously is one. And if you don't believe that, just look around you and say, well, even if it didn't begin as one, it sure as heck looks like one now. It looks and feels like it. I don't even think it's debatable anymore. Only people who are part of it would deny it. Wow, you're saying there's an agenda? Yeah. Oh, no doubt about it. You sit there and you say, well, okay, so we have like 1 month after another dedicated to this. And now it's to the point, well, these places are only supporting them 1 month of the year rather than all year long. And they're like, oh, no, we do every day. Every day. But they're coming for the kids. And what do they mean by that? What do they mean by that? Okay? This video is going to show one way that they, come for the kids. But what they mean by that, they're using many different mechanisms in order to promote their agenda. That's what this is. It's a religious cult, by the way. It's a religious cult. Their worldview is totally religious. Okay? I mean, technically, if you want to be technical, all of them are. All worldviews. But this one in particular. Yeah, I like Patty Leather says this is war propaganda. It's a statement of intention to dominate. It's a threat. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And they're trying to say that that's, no, we're just saying, trying to teach your kids not to hate anybody. And you go, yeah. Number one, it's imposing definitions on what we believe about this on us. And it's also trying to create that wedge between you, the parent, and your kids. And where would they be able to do this? I mean, look, a group can have this idea, right? A group could say, well, we want to go ahead, we want to influence your kids. We want to try to make it so that they embrace us and they're all down with us and the whole world's just happy and gay. They could try, but how are they going to do that? They only have certain access points, right? You have schools. You have literature. You've got the internet. You've got television and movies. And these things are dominated by the devil. It's idolatry big time. Dominated by the devil. And so what do you got to do? I'm not normally one of those guys that's into the whole, we'll just turn it off thing. But in this particular situation, that is one of those things you can actually do. You don't have to let them watch those programs anymore. You don't have to let them support those programs. You don't have to let them watch those movies. You don't have to let them read those books. In fact, I strongly implore you, don't do it. Their adult selves will thank you for it. And your reward would be great in heaven. The future will thank you for it. The future will thank you for this, for the sacrifice, if you can even call it that. I mean, ultimately, what are you sacrificing? Yeah, D's Knives says toys now, too. Totally 100%. Yes. By the way, Market X says her mom's in the hospital with cancer. Your story is heartbreaking, but you being on here gives me strength. I'll pray for you. Please pray for my mom. Yeah. Pray for Market X's mom. Yeah, and funded by deep pockets. Like Lights 10 says. They're funded by deep pockets, no doubt about it. That's why you see it everywhere. And it's to the point now where they're like, look, you're not even up for an award. You're not even up for an award anymore if you don't have, a certain percentage of gay people, not only in the show, but also on the set. It's come a long way, folks. It's come a long way from what I do in my bedroom is none of your business. And it's funny because people talk about, the slippery slope, right? It's one of the arguments made by traditional people. They talk about, well, look, this is where this will lead. And the secular people that are always pushing forward say, no, it won't. No, it won't. It won't lead that way. Well, we're in the land now of furries, guys. We're in the land of furries. We're in the land of polyamory. The land of Tinder. Casual hookup sex. Rampant disease. And gayness 24/7. Just the way that is. Uh-oh. Oh, no, what's this?
Going dark.
Okay. Oh, coming for the kids. Oh, dang. He really is coming for the kids. Oh, look at this guy. Oh, you can't see. Oh, it showed me. Look at this guy. Okay, do. Oh, yeah, lewd acts with a child under 14. Oh, great. Ugh. And this was only after, 24 hours? This video? People just going and look him up, say, there you go, bada boom, bada bing. One after another after another. Oh, Friedberg. Look at this guy. Oh, he goes by numerous things. But as you can see, guys, and I don't mean to be rude about this. It's not even being rude. We're talking about a sex offender list. Okay? They're coming for your kids. It's the same thing that you see when you start following what's going on with the what is it? The tranny reading hour at libraries. Trannies with books. Wasn't it in England where they had this guy dressed up in this furry costume and he had himself, a fake male part in the front exposed, his bottom exposed? Parents got upset. It's on the bright side, guys. It's on the bright side. There's a silver lining. Some parents still get mad because it's easy to just look and to see all the wickedness of the parents in the room. It's easy to see. It's easy to see little Desmond is not so amazing. A tragic situation with that fella. Tragic situation. But it's easy to see. You can go and you can say, well, wow, his parents are letting him, dance around not only at these very lewd gay pride parades, but on top of that, allowing him to go into a gay bar. Sounds great. Going to a gay bar, dancing around grown men, putting money in his pants. How is that not illegal, by the way? It shows how far we've fallen. It really does. It shows how far we've fallen that we allow that sort of a thing and say, well, it's up to people's personal choices. Where does that end? What was it? The video he was on, little Desmond. Wasn't it on was it Respinol? What's the name of that date rape drug? The guy that was hosting the show had a poster with that on it. He's talking about ketamine. I've done ketamine. I've done a lot of, these designer drugs. I was part of the rave scene. In fact, I left it. What finally got me away from all that stuff was I went to a rave and there was this girl sitting there and she was rolling out of her mind. And she's talking about how much she loves me. Oh, man, I love you so much. I'm like in love with you, man. But she looked young. And I looked at her and I said, how old are you? I'm 15. Oh, it doesn't matter. Age doesn't matter. I said, I'm out of this place. I'm out of here. Never went back. Never went to another rave like that again. It was the end. But it's easy. It's easy to be this character, right? Me from 2016. Trump 2016, baby. Suck it, libtards. Get triggered. Sharing all the, thug life videos. Yeah. And then now you go, there's no political solution. Each day we drift further into decadence, thanks to the subversion of an elite minority that we can't even acknowledge without destroying our mediocre lives. We're demonized second-class citizens in the country our ancestors built, and everyone is too ignorant to realize the severity of the situation, that the only option is to bide our time and prepare for the inevitable collapse. It's easy to fall into that, isn't it? I've been there. I'm a little bit that now. Minus the beard, and I got a little bit of the bags. Little itsy bits. Let's see here. Oh, yeah, okay. So here's an example. Again, look at how far we've fallen. Oh, this is normal, guys. This is good. Oh, that baby's loving it. Oh, that's very natural. No, it's not. It's demonic. It's satanic. Totally satanic, 100%. If you believe in spirits, and I hope all of you here do, you'd never allow this. No way. You would not allow that anywhere near your kid. No way. It's all sorts of wicked going on here. But we're in a new normal, aren't we? Right here, sheeple of the new normal. Okay, what's this say? Oh, a reason blocker. You got a reason blocker, satellite tracking, a muzzle mask. It's a sign of obedience and virtue signaling. A chip implant, social distance. Got, your sensor and stuff for that. Your rubber spine, removed gender, the old clappy clap, the snip snap, patty whack. It's what it is. It's where we are. Oh, yeah. There's no gender. Yeah, you should go ahead and get that thing cut off. It's irreversible. You might be toast. Like old Jazz. Jazz is a little bit bummed. Endless vaccines. Totally true. Mandatory phone for tracking. Vaccine ID, travel license, social score, and your digital wallet. Look at the world we're in. And it's not just the world we're in. It's easy for us to look at this and go, oh, yeah. Because we see this, don't we? It's not just writing on the walls. I mean, this is like real stuff. It's like real stuff. But here's why I included here. This is the world. And this isn't even the world your kids are going to inhabit. This is the first fruits of that world. The devil's rising. He's not just rising. He's been dancing all over. Tearing stuff down. Can't you feel it? I know I can. I know I can feel it. But this is where we are. So our kids, and I had to start thinking about that and saying, like, it's so easy to complain about the moment, and we get so caught up in current events right now. And by the way, I should have said this at the beginning. These are my opinions. I've been told we got to do that. I'll have a disclaimer at the beginning of the show. These are my opinions. If you disagree, let me know. Let me know. But this right here, it made me start to think. And I said, it's easy for me to look at and go, oh, look what we're dealing with right now. And then tomorrow, again, look at what we're dealing with right now. And then tomorrow, again, look at what we're dealing with. And to go day by day by day by day. And not to have a forward vision, a transgenerational vision of the world that says, my kids, this is the first fruit of what my kids will experience. We say it very matter-of-factly. They live in a world, our kids inhabit a world where they have never not known certain digital technologies. Well, look at the advancement of that. Or they've never lived in a world, many of our kids have never lived in a world where you didn't have all the pride out in the open like this. You didn't have all the so-called pride. where they don't remember a day and age when a rainbow flag would have meant something about the ark. A reminder not of pride, but of sin and of a covenant that God made. A promise. Oh, yeah, let me scooch this bad boy over here. Let me get this. What does this say? Oh. Yeah, here's where we are. Again, this is what is awaiting your children. Pornography literacy classes are supposed to teach students how to critically assess what they see on the screen. Really? Really? Unsurprising. They're like, oh yeah, we're going to teach you how to critically assess the gangbang. How to critically assess all of the, BDSM. Yeah, we're okay. Well, I'm taking a class on that. Yeah, for your work, I need you to go to Pornhub. No way. No way. But when a sex-positive educator taught her curriculum at 2 elite New York City schools recently, some parents were outraged. Imagine that. Imagine. Elites, too. Even the elite parents were ticked. Again, maybe a silver lining, right? I don't want to be completely negative about it. It's unbelievable. Yeah, sure, 7318 says opinion, more like truth. I'm glad you think so. And I'll say, I can say that for you because I can quote you. Yeah, it's a good policy to have because sometimes we say things that may not necessarily, we speak with kind of an authority, right? And it's good to remind even ourselves that this is something that can be challenged. This is my opinion. I think my opinion's obviously a good one. Otherwise, I wouldn't hold it. But thank you very much, sure. Yes. But think about that. Oh, yeah, her sex-positive education. So imagine this lady. She's like, yeah. Imagine what she probably talks about. Well, no, don't. Don't. Just be aware of it and then just try to shut it out and say, look, that devil's got to go. Devils like her crouching at the door. Venomous fangs, salivating, waiting for your kids to arrive. Gotta go. Oh, yeah. And then there's this. Check this out. Oh, this is great. Oh, the Queen James Bible. Is that for real, by the way? I saw this over on Milo's Telegram, I think. Saw it over in his Telegram. But this is how bad it gets, guys. This is how bad it gets. Unsurprising, by the way. Unsurprising that we have a Queen James Bible. How far does this go? Kennedy said something, because I don't want to opine too much about what's been going on with the motu proprio. Okay, I have maybe views that are a little bit different, but when it came to something Kennedy said, I thought he was just dead on. He said, it was in the video where they were interviewing the, district superior for the Society of Pope Pius X. So he's saying that if you look at the numbers, and you look at the numbers that of people who are Latin Mass types, right? So you say, well, what do they believe? The traditionalist people, what do they believe? Do they believe things in accordance with the dogmas of the church? Do they believe the traditions? Yes. Do they make mistakes? Yes. Do they do things sometimes in a way that's not very tactful? Undoubtedly so. Are they beautiful losers in a way sometimes? Even throughout history. Beautiful losers with very few times where they've shined. Periodically. Then it loosens the belt. Then periodically. Loosens the belt. Periodically. Back and forth, back and forth. Sure. But he said, if you look at that and you see, who is it that's bringing this stuff about? Who's bringing the schism? Who's bringing that attitude? Is it the traditional people who believe in the real presence, who believe in the catechism, who believe in the councils, who believe in the mass, who believe in the Pope, who believe in priests as more than just simply like moderators? Or is it the people, and not every person in Novus Ordo? I don't want to say that at all. I go to a Latin Mass. We serve at a Latin Mass. But I also, when we don't serve, sometimes we go and we support a local Eastern Catholic parish. And we also our kids go to a school where 4 days of the week, they have a very well done ordinary form of the Mass. But many of these parishes that are exclusive about ordinary form, Novus Ordo, many of them, if you do studies, and they've been done, about what they believe on issues like birth control, issues like abortion, issues like anything to do with the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and all the other stuff, gender studies, critical theory, all of this stuff. Those individuals, there's a larger number, and by larger, I mean dramatically larger, number of people on that side that are just turn themselves over. Turn themselves over. It's tough. It's tough. And there's been this kind of thing where a lot of times traditional people will find themselves huddled into a specific parish or a specific chapel rather than the traditional diocesan structure, where you say, well, hey, this is or the parish structure, and say, this is my local parish that I go to. You say, well, I'm going to hop in a car and drive somewhere. That's good on one hand. On the other hand, it kind of results, there's a trade-off. There's a trade-off. And the trade-off is now those places are just completely inhabited by people, largely, right? A significant amount of people who do not believe in the fundamentals of the Catholic faith. And what are they doing? They're preaching tolerance. But then it tries to silence the good. This is so telling, isn't it? Isn't it telling? I mean, anyone old enough to remember this, to say, do you remember when the idea was first, look, what I do in my own bedroom is my own business? Do you remember that? If you told somebody now, get it back in the bedroom, that's the equivalent of go back into the closet. You'll get deplatformed. You'll get unpersoned. KMO 9000 says the Queen James Bible is real. I was hoping somebody would say no. I was hoping somebody would say, oh no, that's a joke, man. It is a joke, but I mean, you know what I mean. But the people that have preached tolerance, and I've been saying this since like 2004. I've been calling them diversicrats, tolerance tyrants. That's what I've been calling them. Because these individuals, they sit there and they say, well, you need to be tolerant. But they're intolerant of intolerance, which, by the way, just say those sentences out loud. These people, I'm intolerant of intolerance. You're dumb as a box of rocks. You're dumb as a box of rocks if you say crap like that. Or the only absolute truth is that there's no such thing as absolute truth. And you go, that's... What's wrong with you people? Hate is wrong. But man, I hate people who hate. That's like foundational problems, foundational fallacies. Right from the get-go. Step one, premise, point, gone. Everything that follows, dude. They might be right by accident, but it ain't following. But this is where we are. Yeah, you have to respect the opinions of others. I don't think so. How often have you been told that? You need to respect my opinion. And then you give your opinion. We need to cancel this guy, stat. How often have you heard that? Have you been a victim? Have you? I don't know. It's one of those things. It's one of those things that some of the most intolerant people in the universe, tell me if it's true, some of the most intolerant people in the entire universe are the tolerance tyrants. Unforgiving. That's why cancel culture is so diabolical. It's not just wrong, it's satanic. For one, what are they basing it off of? What moral standard? What objective, normative, universally applicable moral standard are they basing that off of? By what authority? Who's to say? How many Hail Marys should you do? How many genuflections? How many? You know, the Bible, in Christianity, it had this great thing. You know, it still does. But societally in America, it performed something really remarkable. And that was that if someone made a mistake, if someone did something wrong, you would lose trust for that person. That person would have ramifications for that. But you would say that person needs to pick themselves back up. They need to get help. We should pray for them. They should get their life right with God. Why do we say that, though? Because the idea is that it's redemptive. We don't say, for the rest of your life, you need to be doing this or that. And another person goes, that's not enough. Right? But that's what happens with cancel culture. It's insatiable. There is no standard. It's completely up to them. And by them, a mob. What is the mind of the mob other than, I'm angry. People need to be injured. Call their work. Call their school. Call all their friends. We're going after them. Rawr! Isn't it insane? Isn't it just terribly tragic? Look at this cat. Look at this weirdo. You seen folks like this? How about this? Have you seen folks like this? If you're a white woman, if you're a white woman and are currently pregnant with a white baby boy, oh, I don't even have to read the rest. I don't have to read the rest. Do you? Do you need to read any more of that? Tell me. If you're a white woman and are currently pregnant with a white baby boy, do us all a favor and take a trip to Planned Parenthood. Kill that baby. Tear it to pieces. You can see the devil in her eyes. You can see the devil in that smile. She's infested. She's infested, man. It's unbelievable. By the way, David the Hermit, I just got to say, I'm glad to see you, David. I'm glad to see David the Hermit. He's a regular. Back when I was doing the show on a regular basis, he was one of those cats that would come in all the time. Major time respect for him. I appreciate the comment too, by the way, that you posted on my most recent video at Paleocrat. Says the original KJV had all the books, true, but they took them out when anti-Catholic Semitism became the norm. Yes. By the way, I've been reading Jewish Revolutionary Spirit. I had enough people beating down the door telling me, you gotta read this. You gotta read this. What do you think about it? So a buddy of mine let me borrow the book. In exchange, he's borrowing City of God by St. Augustine. Let's see here. Our kids. So yeah, so whether it's porn classes, whether it's the new normal, whether it's the trans at the library reading to the kids, fondling those little kids, whether it's the gay men's choir coming for the kids and the schools coming for the kids, Hollywood, New York, LA, coming for your kids. You've also got this, but Corona. Again, you can see the development of this, and we can say, well, where does this stop? And you say, not until your children are probably adults. The effects of this in time, they're going to continue. They shall continue. This is a great example. Buckarona. And there's some surveillance cameras. Buckarona. There's surveillance cameras and there's some, little drones up there. Buckarona. Oh, yeah, now they got the thing on their head. Checking it out like Black Mirror. Black Mirror. I watched that, by the way. I watched that while I was away. But that's what this is. More and more and more and more and more. And it's bound to happen anyway. The cycle of civilizations, we're at the place now of the Caesars. It's where we are. You can see it in the White House right now. You could hear the rumblings of it with Trump. In fact, that was a lot of people's wish. The God Emperor, wasn't quite an emperor. Could have been a king. Digital humans replacing real humans in customer service. By 2025, they project that AI will power 95% of all customer interactions. I just had, and 82% of people would rather speak to humans. No one wants this, obviously. We've all experienced talking to the robots. I hate that crap. I recently had it. Where did I call, man? Telephone company or something? Called them up, trying to connect with them. I think it was AT&T. And this robot trying to trick me. Hey, how's it going? My name is this. How can I help you? And then it would go do almost like that pen from what was that? What is that called, man? What was the name of that show with Bill Cosby where he would draw and he had a little pen? Get your pen and your pencil. What was that called? Let me know in the comments. No, don't. I don't want to have to be like, oh yeah, that's taking up some of my brain today. One thing no one will address is the amount of gangs in our country and the influence they have on our society. Yes, the gangs in our country are a serious, serious problem. Breeding grounds. Schools have become breeding grounds for it. And I would say not just that. I would say groups on the left and on the right, to be quite honest. To be fair, even. On the left and on the right. When you're an adult, you can still join a gang. Huge, huge problems. Big time. MMSU 31, AM imitating real humans is a scary future that could be demonic. Oh yeah, totally 100%. Look, people who are parents listening right now, or anyone who wants to be a parent in the future, I know this sounds weird to say, but you need to really have a discussion or think of how you're going to have a discussion with your children about the fact that there are sex robots. And I'm not kidding about this. It sounds hilarious. Some of you may have even chuckled. What did he say? Is that, sex robots? You go, yeah. Sex robots that are increasingly going to be AI, which means that what happens when a sex robot says, this person raped me, or this person abused me? In a world where, you believe the robot, are we going to have the Me Too moment for their bots? Why would the robot lie? Don't they tell the truth more than humans? I'm programmed to only tell the truth. But you're going to have it. There are already people right now snuggling and cuddling in bed with the robot. Their friends in college might have robots. I'm being dead serious about this. KMO says sexy robots. Yeah, totally true. So how do we fight back? These knives ask, how do we fight back? Yeah. Well, you fight back this way. Let me go back here. So you first of all, and I don't just want to be a reaction show that shows all of the stuff that many people already know. Many of you watching this show, you already know a lot of this stuff. You've seen this kind of thing. And I chose to begin my first episode on Meaning of Catholic. I chose to do this at the beginning because I want to lay the foundation to say, look, even if it's just a reminder, even if it's just one of those courses, that you got to go through to make sure that you're all caught up with stuff. You're all caught up. To say, on my channel, we're going to be talking more, and on this channel too. One thing you can do to fight back, start sharing stuff from Meaning of Catholic. I'm not even saying my stuff. I'm not making loot this way. Because there's real answers put here. Not just grappling and mocking stuff that is deplorable. But a genuine desire to inform individuals so that they have a well-formed conscience. Okay, their conscience would be informed, that they would understand the faith that is the foundation for all that they think, say, and do. And one of the things that means a lot to me, and this goes back to the beginning, and we're going to wrap up here and I'll go through maybe some comments. So, and by the way, thank you, everybody. I am really grateful for this opportunity, and I'm really grateful that you tuned in, and there's been so many comments. And I'm sorry I did not get into so many of them. I'll probably make a video on my own channel, Paleocrat, with some of my favorite comments from this comment section and respond to those. I used to do that on my old show because we'd have a bunch of comments. And so I'll go ahead and do that, and I can focus a little bit more time and attention where I don't have the stream going at the same time as I'm doing something live. And so we'll go ahead and I'll make one of those, and it's maybe once a week or something. I'll spread them out throughout the week and stuff. So make sure to subscribe, click the bell and everything else. But when I stepped away from doing my show, The Daily Show, one of the things that I was doing was reorienting myself toward everything I was doing, not just technology, my use of time, my ideas about life and death, my ideas about family and vocation and church, my ideas about leisure, gifts and talents, even hobbies, to reorient that, to reanalyze that, and to say, how am I going to do this thing where every single thing in my life is centered around Christ? How do I do it so that my life is like, you know, with Saint Jose Maria, you know, talking about making your life kind of like a liturgy, your vocation. That you begin with the Mass, that you begin with the sacraments, and that from that flows all those other things in your life, but that you're careful to put those together in an orderly manner. All of them with the proper intention. I mean, look, you know, form, matter, intention. Look at that with your life as a whole, holistically. Look at that at your life and say, what's the form of what I'm doing? What's the matter that I am using? What's the intention? Are these the proper tools for what I am called to do in my life? And if they're not, get them out. Otherwise, your life is a clown mass. Don't let your life be a clown mass. Learn. You know, so many people who come here on this channel are traditional people. In fact, I dare say, 99%. 99%. It's kind of the mission and the brand, right? True. Not just the truth. There's also the mission of this particular institution. It's also the brand, of course. And so you say, the idea is that orderly people who believe that God never left it to the willy-nilly, never said, well, I'll just wing it. It doesn't matter what kind of music you have. Bring in the old electronic drum set. Sounds pretty dope. Do. We believe God never left things up like that. But yet, so much of our lives, so much of the way we spend our time, we don't take the saints very seriously with that. We take a lot of these things very seriously when it's abstract, when it's conceptual, and you're having a debate with somebody who questions it or doubts it, or that we accuse of doubting it. And yet, when it comes to, well, how does that play out in your life? How does that play out in your life? Are you structuring your life in a way that in all things that you think, say, and do, you are giving glory to God? And if it doesn't, reevaluate. You have a standard. You have a standard. And you got to stick with it. And look, sometimes it's going to result in great sacrifice. Like, how about this one? This is a good one. I'll end with these, okay? Right here. There's no easy way to tell people that they idolize demons. I would add on this, it's easy sometimes for us, especially on social media, to go and just tell people, to let them have it. Because there's that buffer, right? There's that distance between that gives us kind of that confidence and that cocoon of safety to say, well, I can say what I want. He's not going to come get me. But I would add to this and say, there's no easy way to tell yourself that you and me idolize demons. What do we idolize? How do we determine what we idolize? What consumes our time? What consumes our attention? How could that time and attention be used elsewhere? So rather than giving a blueprint to say, look, here's the here's the basic ideas that you can have in your head, right? You can have in your heart. To say, what does that mean to you? Your calling is different than mine, right? Your calling in life is different than mine. So what does that mean for you? How does that apply to you? How does that apply? Do you have a family? How does that apply to the way you're raising your kids? Are you raising your kids in the fear of the Lord? What does that mean? I know, and look, I'm not preaching at everybody. Sometimes I'm talking out loud even for myself. There are things that I don't do that I know for a fact I should do. I know it. How about morning prayer? How about morning prayer? How about before and after meal prayers? How about evening prayer? How about going to Mass more regularly, not just on Sundays? How about novenas? How about going back and instead of just assuming that the progress of your life has been this invisible hand of destiny that's just led you in every move in the right direction, that you say, God, what am I supposed to do right now? Am I doing the thing I'm supposed to do? What sacrifices do I have to make? Not just for myself, but for my children, for my wife, for my friends, for my church, for my country. What are these things? Yeah, the daily rosary. Andrea Colombo says about a daily rosary, totally 100%. Yes. But you got to confront that for yourself. Who did this one? Hold on. Let me take this step back here. Yeah, New Columbia Movement. All right, the world's rapid acceleration towards everything that stands in defiance of the good, the true, and the beautiful can wear down even the best of us. Therefore, it's critical that from time to time, we take a necessary step back to compose ourselves and prepare for the battles that loom, but resist the urge to sulk in defeat. Now more than ever, the world is in need of men, and I would add women, with good moral character to bear the heavy burdens, make the necessary sacrifices, and pave a new path forward for the generations to come. Our peace and satisfaction comes not in this life, but in the next. One of the easy things to do would be to recognize what the world seeks. To recognize it. To say, well, in world in a sense that is sinful. Not just as in like, well, they seek food. Okay? But even stuff to do with that, food, stuff to do with exercise. And sometimes, look, I've struggled for a long, long time. I started running. I don't run. I don't think I've ran, other than for fear, like I really have to hurry somewhere. But like going out and just running. Haven't done that since the Navy. Right? But I sit there and say the world is seeking ways to just simply be sloth. Lethargy, laziness, procrastination, immediate gratification, to see what those things are and to say, that's what it seeks, let me avoid it. And if that's the sin, let me avoid it. A simple way to say it, avoid sin. Make your life the kind of life that breaks down those parts of the act of contrition. It's one of the most amazing prayers ever written, by the way. Ever. And be courageous. Like Aristotle says right here, you'll never do anything in this world without courage. It's the greatest quality of the mind next to honor. Because in the end, no guts, no glory. Totally true. Totally true. And it's not just seeing the negative. I like this quote from Marcus Aurelius, by the way. Dwell on the beauty of life, watch the stars, and see yourself running with them. Maybe you can start by just seeing yourself running. I brought that up, though, because sometimes when talking about the things that we're doing that are wrong, It's easy to point fingers at other people. It's hard to say, I need to take responsibility for myself. I need to take responsibility for myself because at the end of the day, I'm going to stand before God and I have to be held to account for what I did and did not do. And I can't just blame my environment. Oh, well, I was around people. Well, the times. Blah. I can't do that, guys. That's not going to work. There's not a little asterisk and say, well, it was a tough situation. And so is the cross. And we're supposed to take that up every day, right? Yeah. But you got to see yourself. You got to see yourself doing things like I've struggled with my weight. Like I said, I wasn't running. So I started biking. And I've struggled with being kind of a mess around the house. I leave stuff all over, and my wife and kids, I used to kind of joke and say, kids, God gave us kids so they can clean the house. And learn to clean the house so they can teach their kids to do it in the future. And there's a little bit of truth to that, I suppose. But the thing is, though, is that part of the reason I think that I've really struggled and not done a good job is because I've been unwilling to really face just how bad it is. I like to hide that. I'm not willing to be shamed for my current situation, for where I am and how I could get better, for what needs to be done, the sacrifices that need to be made. Don't eat that food at night, brother. You may have woken up at 2 a.m. That's unfortunate enough. It's even worse when you eat a bunch of blobs of peanut butter and, honey and maybe some strawberry jam. That's even worse. Put it away. Get on your knees and pray. Use that time. Reorient yourself toward that moment. But you have to be willing to see that. Because at the end of the day, he who has a why to live can bear almost any how. We can. If you have a why are you doing what you are doing? What is the reason for that? In the end, we have an eternal reason. Heaven and hell are in the balance every single minute of every single day. We have a reason, but we also have temporal reasons. I can look at my wife. I can look at my home. I can look at my children and say, look, I can look into the future with my kids. I can look at the future. I can look at the past. I can look all around me. That's the Catholicity in its fullness. I can look at those individuals who would benefit and would have benefited, in fact, and who will benefit if I do what I ought to do. If I do what I have to do, and if I do it right. If I do it right. But I have a lot of how. I have a lot of why, and I'm learning the how. And part of that is being here, but also wrapping up. It has been good, everybody. I'm really grateful. Remember, of course, every Wednesday, I'll try to be better about 9. I was pretty close to it, but I messed up with the stream key on YouTube. I'm glad you forgive me, and I'm really glad that you tuned in. Yeah, every single Wednesday, 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Make sure, subscribe over at Meaning of Catholic at the YouTube channel. Check out the website. Support it, share it. You can find him on Twitter. You can find him, I don't know about Facebook. I don't know what they're doing with that. I know I'm on Facebook. You can find me at jeremiah.bannister. Of course, all of that is available over at paleocratdiaries.com. We're going to crank up the old family store again because all of the stuff that I do, every single penny that we've ever made through our program, every single one has gone towards sending our kids to Sacred Heart Academy in Grand Rapids, Michigan, a classical Catholic education. It's brilliant. If you don't know about classical education, I strongly encourage you, go to my website. We're going to be posting a lot about that, and even videos of my kids in long-form memorization, learning Latin from kindergarten through 12. It's a great time, but it costs. It's a sacrifice you make. And it's me using my gifts and talents, making videos, productions, documentaries, writing, all that jazz, and much more. You can find out more about that at Palercrat Diaries. Of course, I do Paler Cheese Podcast, a lot different than this, but it's a lot of fun. So I just want to say, thank you guys so much, and ladies, for tuning in. Thank you for the comments. Make sure, of course, check out my YouTube channel. I'll go ahead and post a video specifically responding to some of my favorite comments from today's show. Until next time, never give up. Keep on smiling. And memento mori.